Good morning. Welcome to your 10 a.m. daily weather briefing, dealing with some mostly cloudy conditions out there as we have a broken deck around 3,400 feet. Still slightly breezy to breezy conditions as well, with peak wind gusts around 25 miles per hour in the last hour and temperature holding around 59 degrees. If we take a look at the current surface analysis, we do have a pretty strong high pressure over the northeast part of the country, helping to keep that pressure gradient tight, bringing us some of these breezier conditions. Otherwise, we have Tropical Storm Nicole off the coast of Florida that will be moving inland through the overnight hours tonight and bringing us some impacts as we get into our Friday. Looking at the upper level winds from this morning's balloon sounding, we have generally easterly winds below and up to 12,000 feet, fairly strong or stronger near the surface, around 23 to 26 knots, and then another peak as the winds become more northwesterly, up around 20 to 25,000 feet at 23 to 24 knots. The freezing level is at 12,300 feet. If we take a look at the current visible satellite, we do see those low-level clouds coming in off the water, expecting those to stick around as we go throughout the day and into the evening hour. Otherwise, slightly breezy at coastal locations, inland a little less breezy, and again expecting that to continue. We will see winds start to weaken or trend weaker as we go into the evening and overnight hours. Starting off with the GFS model for today, we do see high pressure over the northeast again with that tropical storm off the Florida coast. That tropical storm will move inland over the night tonight as we will have that high pressure start to move eastward. That will allow those winds to weaken a bit, and then as that storm moves inland and becomes more extratropical as it meets up with this upper level trough, we will see a relatively quiet day for our Thursday, and then we'll see clouds start to increase, and then rain chances will start to increase as we get into Friday morning as what the remnants of that tropical storm start to approach the area. We'll see winds start to ramp up throughout the day as well. We'll start off with chance of rain in the morning, and then we'll see those chances continue to increase as we get into the afternoon, becoming likely. Could see a chance of seeing a few embedded thunderstorms in this activity as well. The Storm Prediction Center does have us under a marginal risk for severe weather, and the Weather Prediction Center does have a marginal risk for excessive rainfall. So could be quite an active evening as we go through the day and into the Friday evening and through the overnight hours. But as we get into Saturday, we'll see this low start to exit the area as the trough starts to build back in. We could see some partly cloudy periods for the day Saturday after the rain has cleared out and the winds will weaken a little bit, and then we'll see clouds on the increase. And as we have this upper level support, can't rule out seeing maybe a light shower for the day Sunday, looking like just a slight chance at the moment, but we will see some breezy conditions as well. Not as breezy as Friday evening, but just some slightly breezy to breezy conditions for Sunday likely. And then as we go into Monday, we'll see high pressure quickly build into the area for a quiet start to the work week next week, and then what looks like we'll have another disturbance creeping up into the area, possibly bringing us a chance for some rain as we get late in the day Tuesday and into the middle of the week next week. So looking at the 24-hour weather risk chart, we are green across the board today with the exception of the winds that are above 25 knots. Did have orange for this morning, dropping down to yellow for the afternoon. We will see the trend weakening with those winds out of the east at 10 to 15 knots with gusts up to 22. And as we get into the evening, we'll see those easterly winds becoming around 8 to 13 to 9 to 14 knots. Slightly weaker at the sunrise hour for our Thursday, before picking back up just a little bit to east at 8 to 13 knots. But expecting a high around 62 as we get into the afternoon hours today. There's low clouds sticking around through the evening that will keep temperatures from dropping too low. Expecting a low around 54 to 55 as we get into the morning hours Thursday. And right now tides are running about 1/2 to a foot above normal. Looking at the next couple days, Thursday will be a fairly quiet day, partly to mostly cloudy and mild with a high of 69, so similar to today, but not quite as breezy and warmer. Green across the board for weather risk. And as we get into Thursday evening, starting off mostly cloudy, becoming overcast, and then we'll see the breeze start to pick up and a slight chance of a light rain shower Later in this time frame, typically towards the sunrise time frame, for our Friday with a low of 62. So we do have a yellow risk for precip, wind, and reduced sealings of visibilities. But as we get into Friday is when the main action will start to occur, as we have a cloudy day with rain showers becoming likely by the afternoon and continuing into the evening. We'll have a chance of those embedded thunderstorms possible, and we'll see those breezy winds increasing throughout the day. We could see some gusts up to 30 to 35 knots and possibly higher as we get through the overnight hours, as those peak wind period starts to move into the local area. But a warmer day for our Friday with a high of 71. We have an orange risk for seeing precip and a yellow risk for lightning. We are red for those winds at or above 25 knots. So we will likely see a wind advisory for the day Friday and into the evening. And then we have that yellow risk for reduced sealings of visibility. Looking at the extended forecast, as we get into Saturday, we'll see rain likely in the morning, early Saturday morning, with those winds still sticking around, and we'll see things start to quiet down as we go throughout the day. Saturday, possibly some partly cloudy periods. Later in the day, Saturday, high around 68, and that will likely be in the morning, and then we'll see a cooling trend as we continue throughout the day with a low around 42 Saturday evening. We'll see those clouds start to increase overnight and into Sunday, with that slight chance, about a 15% chance of seeing maybe a light rain shower or two on Sunday, expecting a high around 60 degrees. And then going into Sunday evening, we'll see much cooler weather start to move into the area with a low around 35. And then Monday looks to be a quiet day, partly cloudy with a high around 50. And then again, another evening in the 30s for Monday evening around 38. And then we'll see rain chances start to move back into the forecast for the middle of the week, with looking at about 20% chance for the PM hours on Tuesday, but otherwise mostly cloudy with a high around 56. Well, that will wrap up the 10 a.m. daily weather briefing. We'll be back again tomorrow at 8:15 at 10 a.m. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day.